Let's move on to a failure. Actually, we don't talk about too many of these on the show since kind of the Blue Apron days, really. But Omni is shutting down, to my understanding, and effectively selling off its engineering team to Coinbase, a kind of giant in the American crypto space, always probably, I presume, hungry for engineering talent. The reason why this is pretty interesting is that Omni had raised $35 million. So this was a relatively well-backed company. This wasn't just a YC company that kind of flamed out. That happens a lot. So
no, it raised quite a bit.
Yeah. Omni, to my understanding, was a neat way to get stuff out of your house and into storage. And the company would then kind of catalog and tag things. And then you had the ability to rent out certain items from your personal collection of stuff. And then you could also have it brought back to you. And Kate, as I explained this, it seems kind of too complicated to work.
There's a lot of moving parts. And I wasn't particularly familiar with this company until all this news of it shutting down. But now that I have learned a bit about it, I'm not surprised that it didn't work out. So, you have companies like Clutter, which will store your stuff for you, which is great because, millennials in particular, apparently moving around a lot, whatever it might be, they need to store their stuff.
Literally me this morning with the van.
Yeah. But Omni took it a step further than a company like Clutter by actually letting you or allowing them to then rent out your stuff so that you could make money while you were storing your stuff. So it's kind of like, it's a strange combination of a lot of things. I don't know why they felt, to take that extra step toward actually renting out your items as well. But I think somewhere along the way that just became too complicated for them to sustain.
Yeah, and I think they had kind of shut down their operations earlier and tried to white label their software. And I just think they couldn't find something that was going to work out for them long term. We're going to see more of these over time as we get later and later into this kind of startup cycle. But I think anything that raises over 20 million and shuts down is probably worth a mention if we become aware of if it's kind of end of life is rapid as opposed to a long, slow decline. We should bring it up and talk about it.
So Omni raised $25 million, part of that $35 million, from cryptocurrency company Ripple in early 2018. And now now 10 of their engineers are going to Coinbase. This is hopefully not a really stupid question, but what is the crypto connection here that I'm missing?
Well, I didn't know that their capital had come from Ripple, which is XRP, which is one of the most valuable cryptocurrencies, if you didn't know that.
So are they built on the blockchain or something? What am I missing?
Well, then we can't make fun of them. I was trying to be very sympathetic because they worked really hard at a hard idea and took a real shot at it. And, good job. Entrepreneurship matters for the future health of our economy. But if it was a blockchain play, I must have missed that when I was prepping for the show today. My mistake.
I'm not seeing blockchain in any of these articles. Yeah, and Chris is shaking his head. Why?
Because I was confused why they were going to Coinbase.
Yeah.
How come whenever...
Someone tell us, please.
Whenever blockchain comes in, I feel like you and I just kind of sit back in our chairs crap.
Don't ask me about blockchain, please.
It's a slow database, but you can't change it. It's great.
Decentralized.
Yes, there you go. Censorship proof. And in this case, also didn't save the business model. We have seen a lot of layoffs lately. We talked about this on the show. Fair, WeWork, Uber, etc. We'll also be tracking the shutdowns as we track the capital raises.
That is true. At my last job, we used to do an annual collection of, we had a big list of every single VC-backed startup that shut down, and we did this thing called Startup Graveyard. And looking back, it was kind of like dark and probably like too mean. But since I did that at my last job, I was always kind of like familiar with and keeping track, but I don't do that anymore. And it feels to me like there's been actually way less companies shutting down. It's probably just because I'm not keeping a close eye like I used to. But I don't know. Do you feel like 2019 there were fewer startup casualties?
There's been so much money around. I don't think we've had this cold snap that then freezes everyone in place, and then there's all these problems. I mean, you and I read the same story from the Wall Street Journal in the last 24 hours that was discussing how the sentiment in the market has changed and everyone's really worried now in this post WeWork, situation. But everyone that I talk to still seems pretty enthusiastic. And so I have yet to see the sort of sentiment shift and then changing investment patterns that would kill off a lot of companies mid-cycle.
Yeah, as much as everyone still talks about the downturn, we're yet to really see symptoms of it yet. And I think because of that, people are still sort of throwing money around. But
Yep.
maybe 2020 that will change. I mean, hopefully not. Obviously, we're not advocating for companies to shut down. I'm just thinking, talking about Omni, that it feels like we've discussed a lot fewer of those, recently than we may have.
Yeah, but now that our antenna is up, I mean, I'm sure we'll now
Yeah.
see more of them. But I think have been drowned out by the enormous, like, Company X raises $100 million round from, some random investor, like, I don't know, name somebody. That's always going to grab my eye more than small company who I hadn't used in 4 years shut down.
Right,
So.
certainly.